Hello there, welcome to my quaint little channel's um, tutorial on the MU-2 released by Inibuilds recently. Flew a few flights with this airplane so far, and I think I got it pretty well down. I have developed my own checklist based on what the manual gave me and uh, intermingled with some procedures I personally like to do with the airplane. Before we start up here, just want to let you know I am running uh, Microsoft Flight Simulator Standard Update 14 beta. And just one bug with that system that I need to do, I can't speak for others, but I need to do it every time I boot up Flight Sim, is I have to go in here to the assistance options. Looks like each time I restart the sim under 14 beta, these all go back to easy, which I don't want. So just quick way of rectifying that. I turn all these to hard, and then there's two categories I actually want to make custom: piloting and user experience. So here I just turn the rest of whatever says on back off, including this stuff down here. So under user experience, I turn everything off here. Unless, of course, you want to run one of these, which I don't. And under piloting, everything's off for me. And under turbulence, I set medium. It seems like a good, happy medium for the turbulence effect in the simulator. So that's all finished. This is what it should look like here. At least this is how mine looks before I start the sim. Hopefully, in the next few days, they'll come up with a patch to fix that. Have those settings saved. I don't really get this problem if I empty out my community folder and start the sim with an empty community folder. Under those conditions, it looks like these save, but I don't want to empty my community folder every time for obvious reasons, so I just have to put up with changing these until they fix the issue. I also set up my own controls here for the MU-2, which are all saved up here. Make sure all of those are in. Only this throttle, this device I use for nose wheel steering, which the MU-2 does not have nose wheel steering. We'll just use the rudders for that, so I'll disregard that. Okay, so today's flight is going to take place between Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, all the way nonstop to Joe Zerby Airport in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, which is flight time of around 20 minutes or so. I'm going to position myself at one of the GA ramps around here. Well, let's do this one over here. Oh, that's the fuel box. I don't want that. What is this one here? It's also a fuel box. How about we just stick the airplane way out here? There we go. Doing this in real time, real weather. Aircraft selected up there. I think everything's set. Wait for it to load. While this is loading, there's not yet a sim brief profile for the MU-2. The closest thing I can get is a Metroliner. So they share the same engine. So we'll kind of use the numbers from the Metroliner. Should work out okay. So when I get on the ramp here, I really don't like this guy standing in front of me. I'm not going to use him for anything, so I'm going to move the airplane. I'm going to slow it somewhere. Let's just figure out where. Where's the FBO? FBO's over there. Let's set the airplane up for Rockstar parking right outside the FBO. So let's hit slew, and we'll head on over. You know what? That's pretty good right there. Let's see where that ended us up. Yep, that looks pretty good. Of course, these are pretty horrible parking jobs. I suspect one of these airplanes or more are part of my real traffic, the PSXT and real traffic, and the others are static aircraft there. But yeah, you don't want to park aircraft like that, so we'll just ignore that for now. This airplane's beautiful. Waiting for some third-party painters, though, to come on board and paint this aircraft, but looks pretty good to me for now. Using one of the default paint schemes. So before I get into the airplane, let me just load it for our flight. Let's switch to pounds. I got about 1,200 pounds of fuel. More than enough to get up to Zerby, and do this. And it's just going to be reflying the airplane today. Let you all know what I weigh. And I have a 30-pound bag in the back. So that ought to do the trick. Jump on board the airplanes. I have my views already set here. Out the left, out the right, center panel, overhead, which is really just the lights. And I'm going to remove this yoke. I have the lower left panel, the iPhone EFB, which I'm not really going to use too much, if at all. I'm going to go for the more modern cockpit. We are going to use the GLN Garmin over there, the 530 for our flight, and we have a passenger variant. And that's pretty much all I'm going to use for the, eventually I could get the METARs up here for the aircraft, on the airports I'm departing out of. I have a view set for the door in the back, which I'll open now. Now, there's no step on this airplane. I'm assuming... passengers just kind of have to climb up there. Doesn't look too far. Or maybe, I guess whoever owns this plane would have a little step that they put down here, because that looks like quite a jump to get up into that door. But, yeah. For now, we'll just leap up into there. Alright, some other things I want to set up here. I also have a view that shows the lower portion. The autopilot controls down here. I kind of want this in the same view space as my instruments up here, because I'll be going down here and using the autopilot and monitoring what the autopilot does at the same time up there. So that's the view I set for that. Sideways, which I kind of want to reset this lights and the ground in the same view here. Okay, so everything looks good as far as setup. I'm going to just go through my checklist here. Control profile set for the MU-2, which we already checked. Door is open, fuel and payload loaded. Just some safety checks. I'm going to go back to the lower left corner. Ensure the battery key switch is off. Gen switches are off. Inverter switch is off. Fuel tank switch is off. Flaps are up. Gear handle is down. Parking brake set. Throttles idle. Prop levers should be down on emergency start. Emergency stop, sorry. And crank switches should be fully down on stop. Gearing switches should be fully down on ground. Up here. Landing lights should be on retract. The aircraft starts off with them and extend. Bring them back to retract. Beacon taxi light for now is off, and that's the middle rocker position under the beacon taxi. If you can see there, it's a combination. Rocker switch. And now we'll fire up the electrics in the aircraft. Go down here to the key. Turn the battery on. Fuel gauges come to life. Panel lights. For now, I am going to run the nav light, just out of habit, at least. We don't need any of these. It's the daytime. Leave everything else up here. Something I do before engine start is I do set up all of my avionics flight plan. I don't sit there with precious fuel burning as I put the flight plan in. So maybe in the real airplane it's a little bit of a risk to start the engines with all the avionics on, but I feel that the risk is pretty low here in the sim. So I'm going to turn the inverter on now, along with both radio master switches, which are in the left position there. See. Wait for the Garmin here to fire up. Under our flight plan. One little intersection between us and our destination airport, and that's Bob's intersection. Oops. Scoot that back up. Which is spelled B-O-B-S-S. And then our destination is Zerby. K-Z-E-R. Students in flight instructor days. Fun airport. I liked it. Okay, that's our flight plan. And for now, I'm just going to select direct. Whoops, don't want to do that. trims, and for now, it's going to give us a desired track of around 20 degrees or so. So I am going to move this to here, around 20 degrees, to show which direction we want to turn after takeoff to reach our first fix, and my CDI to GPS mode. The needle here should be relatively centered. Okay, here's the first bug I found with this airplane, and that's with the heading bug. I found that after takeoff, when selecting heading mode with the autopilot, this does not. You have to set the heading bug on the reciprocal heading for some reason. So if I wanted to fly 300 degrees and have the autopilot hold that in heading mode, I'd have to set my bug down to 120. For some reason, look, I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, but that seems like the case now until they fix the airplane or patch it up. But we'll just go with that for now. So our runway heading, our departure runway today is going to be, let's see, the wind's 310 at 8. So we're going to be departing runway 31. Which has a heading of 308 degrees, but once again I need to set the reciprocal of that, which is 128. That way, when I select heading mode, if I engage the autopilot after takeoff, it will hold 308. And that's that. Altimeter set, just hit B. I'm going to turn the transponder on now. We'll go up there, VFNR, air 1200. And we'll turn it out to 2. And that looks good for my instruments, my flight instruments. Trims. Okay, it's another tricky thing, but let's first of all get the rudder trim where it should be, right on that yellow line there. Okay, just a brief statement about the takeoff trim in this airplane and how it leaves the ground. Now, I've never flown the MU-2 in real life. I've flown King Airs and whatnot, but our flight department did have an MU-2 that I did not fly, but I spoke with the pilots who did fly it. This thing leaps up off the ground just like it's simulated here. Inibuild did a great job supposedly simulating the flight dynamics of this airplane. This airplane leaps up into the ground. There's no smooth way to rotate this airplane. It just kind of leaps up there, and during landing it kind of plops onto the ground. Now, one of our pilots back in our real world flight department who flew the MU-2, he had this technique where he would do something with the wheel right before landing, where he'd just kind of jerk his fingertips back on the yoke, and it just caused the plane to just smoothly kiss the ground. None of our other pilots could get that technique down, but this guy had it somehow. He was also the examiner and did my private pilot check ride back in 1996. Great guy. Passed away years ago. Great pilot. Okay, back to this. So the manual says to set takeoff trim to 2 units nose up. Okay, so this is still a little bit too much nose up based on the flying I've done with this airplane thus far. I put this right about like a half of a degree, right about there. You can see that. That should give me about what I want for takeoff. try to make the rotation as civilized as possible, but this should help me, this trim setting right here. So we'll hope for the best with that. Of course, that's due to, that has to do with load, CG distribution. But for the kind of flying I'm doing with no payload, this seems to work. We'll see. Hope I don't embarrass myself. Anyway. Okay, everything's set for departure here. We're up to the starting engines portion of the checklist, so I'm going to start by closing the door, latching it, beacon on. I'm going to switch that rocker, not that way, but I'm going to switch it up to just beacon. Okay, just general information about the engines. These are Garrett or Honeywell, as it were, TPE 331s, and they are geared turbines, which means they're different from PT6s in that these are actually mechanically, the prop is actually mechanically connected to the turbines via a gearbox, whereas a PT6 is a free flow turbine. Like on a King Air, you can actually go out there and hold the prop in place as the starter valve's opening up, and the prop will actually stay there as the air starts to move through the center of the engine. I don't suggest you do that, but it can theoretically be done. This is a different process with this engine. It's all mechanically connected. So for those of you who are used to operating free flow turbines like the PT6, this is different, and the starting procedure is different too. I've seen some tutorials on here where the person conducting the tutorial couldn't start the engines. The checklist is good that comes with the airplane, so if you just follow that, it should not be a problem. Okay, beacon on. We're going to start the left engine first. I'm going to come down here. Oops, I'm going to actually come to my center pedestal. First thing I want to do is prop lever to taxi, right about there. Then my throttle lever is going to be up to start. Fuel enrichment switch, press, right button there. Crank switch to crank, one click up. Starter switch, the yellow button here, press. And now I'm going to go over here and watch my oil pressure. You introduce fuel into these engines at a determined oil pressure rating, 40 psi. So once 40 psi comes here, we introduce fuel by turning on that fuel pump, and you see that's going to start that prop, that geared turbine there. Sounds are great. It sounds like a geared turbine when that first starts going there. Okay, and obviously I monitor oil temperature, oil pressure, monitor that up in the green. If that doesn't get up to the green, we abort the start. I assume by pulling back this to emergency stop. Okay, once the engine's stabilized, bring the left generator on, and I show amps on the left side. And once that's set, I repeat the same process for the right engine. So prop lever to taxi, throttle lever to start, hit fuel enrich, select crank, press start button, come over here, watch for oil pressure to rise. There's 40 psi. Introduce fuel. Wait for it to start cranking along there. It's interesting how these engines don't really get going right away, and that's the main difference of the PT6 and the Garretts here. Monitor oil pressure in green. RPM's climbing. Okay. After start, engine crank switches. We're going to ensure these things switched. We're going to ensure these two switches switched on their own to run, and these switched on their own to safe. And that brings us up to the before taxi check. Before taxi check. Flight controls. Back, forward, left, right, rudder, set. Oh, I'm sorry, one thing I forgot to do. Bring on that generator. Okay, good, showing good volts. Sorry, skipping ahead of my checklist here. Flaps. Flaps are always set for 20 degrees, which is 2 notches for takeoff. Okay, I'm going to adjust the props now for taxi. I found that if I actually keep these props up here in taxi, I'm going to take off like a rocket across the ramp and end up using up a lot of brakes. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to pull these back to about right there. And my 2 throttles I'm going to pull all the way back here, back down to ground operation. Actually back to the start of reverse. Okay, and I have a button set on my throttles to actually, if I press that and move my throttles, it brings the engines back into the reverse. I don't think they call them, I don't think there's a beta valve on these, so they don't call them beta, they just call them reverse. But for right now, this is how I'm going to start off my taxi with the props and throttles set in this position. Alright, taxi light on. Once again, this is a rocker. The rocker is going to go full down. That way the beacon and the taxi light are now on. I'm going to hold my brakes, release the parking brake, which is down here. And I'm going to use rudder to steer. There's no nose wheel steering in this plane. When I first operated this airplane the other day, I did accidentally try to use my binding for nose wheel steering, and the nose wheel actually went 90 degrees and I couldn't move the airplane, so I'm not even touching that. It's all rudder to move the airplane. Okay, so I'm going to release my brakes, and I'm just going to bump that power up a little bit, test the brakes. Now I'm going to get rolling pretty fast here, so I just bring that throttle in and out of, just slightly in and out of reverse, and that should keep. Looks like that Gulfstream left. That should keep the taxi speed at a human level. Oh, there he goes. Alright, well, we'll follow him out there to runway 31. So I just have my throttles are all the way back there, and if I get rolling too fast, I just barely crack that reverse thrust, and it seems to control my taxi speed pretty well in this airplane. Where did he go? And just some taxi checks. I check my flight instruments as I'm turning on the ground here, make sure my ADI is going the right direction. My artificial horizon's not showing any kind of a bank when I make turns. Turn coordinator, airspeed indicator, altimeter is reading correctly. So consider my flight instruments checked. And that's going to take us up to the line before takeoff. Let's see who owns that Gulfstream in real life, because this is real world traffic. So a real Gulfstream down in Harrisburg is heading out right now to depart. Let's see who he is, where he's going. Whoa! I gotta really watch where I'm going. Sorry. I'm playing around here with my phone. So he looks like he's going to Georgetown, wherever that is. He is Hera flight. Gulfstream 4. I assume this X is for letting pilots know not to land on it, that it's not a runway. I think we can still taxi on it. Again, I'm just cracking the reverse in and out here to maintain a consistent speed. So after this departure, we have one more inbound arrival. We have a CRJ coming in from Chicago here. Should be on about a 3-mile final now, so we'll wait for him, which is good because it'll give us a chance to take the checklist up to the line. stuttering here with this 14 beta. I don't know if this actually does anything, but I'm going to just try to, I'm going to set priority here to flight sim. Set that to high. Okay, so where is he at? Okay, we'll take this up to the line before takeoff checks. We'll hold on the landing and taxi. Strobes on. Beacon taxis on. Pitot heat and stall vane are on. And there's the line cleared for takeoff. We can do a rolling start, no problem. We'll start by bringing, wow, that's a lot of stuttering. Let me wait till the stuttering stops here. All right, I am going to do a static start here. Props are all the way up. Let that stabilize. And here comes my power. Push that all the way up. Monitor torque that it doesn't over torque. Engines just under 60 grip. Maintain center line. This airplane's going to want to kind of fly itself here. There we go. That's the way you want to take off. And I didn't really pull back too much on that. Right away, I need forward trim. And it's really, really pitchy, this airplane. Flaps are up. And climb at 150 knots. Just about 10 degrees nose up. The tower just cleared me on course. There we go. Little rubber rudder. No yaw damper in this plane. To 9,000 feet, or 9,500 BFR. Okay, bring my power back to between 45 and 50 pounds on the torque. Throttles, I'm sorry, my props, I'm going to bring back just a little bit, maintain in the green arc there. Okay. Now, here's what I was talking about with the heading. If we put this on the reciprocal here, turn our autopilot on, select heading. There it is. Now it seems to be doing okay. Well, it may have corrected itself. Let's see. It did. I don't know what the variable was. The past 3 flights I did it, it only read the reciprocal. Now it seems to be reading what it should be reading. And I have no idea what the variable is. But I won't argue it. I'll just go with it. See if it rolls out here. This is really bizarre. Now it's not. Let's see what it does here. Okay. I'm just going to let the airplane go here and see where it wants to roll out. I have the heading bug set on 150. There's really no way to tell which mode. I don't think there's a way to tell which mode is engaged. Well, maybe there is. That button looks like it's pushed down a little bit. Oh, okay, so there is a way to tell. So the heading mode is engaged there. Let's see where it rolls out. Okay. That's interesting. I move that, it turns, but it doesn't turn to the heading. Set it to east. The autopilot heading bug seems to be following something in heading mode, but it's certainly not this. That's really bizarre. Well, that could possibly be a bug with the system. 1,000 feet to, well, 9,500. I'll level over 1,000 feet. Okay. Well, either way, let's head back to our course here. Let's try the capture function here. That should have made the button go. Right? See if it captures. There's my altitude. Off here. Select altitude. It's not capturing. Desired track. No. Desired track is tell you, I'm pretty baffled. Seems like the heading bug is displaced 45 degrees from where the autopilot wants to take the airplane. Alright, let's recenter this. Direct Zerby, 54 degrees. Track should work. Track mode should work over the airport there. And thankfully, it seems like it is. Okay, so the airport's only 15 miles. Let's start descending. Field elevation 1730, so let's try 3,000 feet for pattern altitude. Descend, just going to hit that down. So we'll cross over top of the field. Well, let's see. Check the weather here. You know what? I'd rather shoot approach into this airport. Well, no, let's not do that. Let's just fly the pattern. So I'm coming up from the south, and winds are 250 at 6, that's favoring runway 29. So I'll enter a left downwind for runway 29. Left downwind to base. I'm going to stretch that pattern out to give myself time. Never did the after takeoff, but I bring those lights off. But for now, let's keep on. Just for fun, let's see if this heading holds what I got here. If I select heading, something tells me it's not going to. Nope. Let's enter left downwind. I'm kind of perplexed at the autopilot modes for this. I have no idea why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, 150 knots, notch and flap. And set my course to runway heading. Okay, landing check, all my lights are on. Prop levers, move those to takeoff. Flaps, standing by on 40 degrees. See the runway out there. Where's that thing? Oh, it's way up there. Okay. My parking brake is off. Standing by for full flaps. Turn that a little bit. Seems like it works pretty well for the pattern. Got 5,100 feet of runway, and this thing comes in fast. So it flies almost like an older jet, like a Lear 35, than it does a prop. Right, here's full flap. Before landing checks complete. Just do about 125 knots here. Airplane stalls at 100. Oh, high. Correcting. was a hard landing. Reverse. It stops pretty quickly. Yeah, I got to work on my landings in this airplane. It's really slippery. Okay, once again to taxi, I want to bring these back. Alright, flaps up. Let's retract it. Anti-ice off. Yeah, just the only thing with this airplane is I have no idea. I have no idea what the autopilot's referencing, especially when you bring it into heading mode or capture mode, because I think it uses heading mode to perform capture mode. It works fine in tracking mode. I just don't know what it's following. It's definitely not that bug I have set up there. Previous flights I did with it, it was following almost exactly the reciprocal heading I would set, and this time it seemed like it was following somewhere around 45 degrees to the left of where I had the heading bug set. So once again, I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or it's a legitimate bug, but as more people fly this airplane, smarter people than me, maybe someone will come up with an answer as to why it's doing that. I'll research Google today. Other than that, this airplane's tremendous. It's a great airplane. It requires a ton of practice. It's not a typical Airbus. It's really slippery, fast, small turboprop that flies like a rock. So it's going to require more practice on my part, as you can see with that landing. So I'll keep practicing it. Maybe record another one of these soon. We're just going to park ourselves right here on the ramp. No one to park us. Ghost town out here. So it seems like a good place to park. Okay, shutdown. Let's turn off all this first. Pull my props back to emergency stop. Gens off. Radio master off. I'm going to keep the inverter on now until the engine's spooled down. If they spooled. Oh. Fuel off. I think that's what I kind of needed to do instead of bringing these back. Come to a stop pretty quickly, and the blades go flat. That's great modeling right there. Great animation. Alright, inverter off. Radio master's off. Everything's off up here. Key is off. Door is open. I walk out. Great airplane. Just needs some stuff fixed. Thanks for everything. Thanks for tuning in, if you tuned in at all. And I'll see you on the next one.